In this video, I'm going to share with you a really quick tip to do with using props in your kids' wellbeing or yoga classes. So if you often use props in your classes, so it could be that you use soft toys or bean bags or scarves or whatever it is that you're using, I recommend that you give some rules to using these props. I generally use the same rules, although I do sometimes adapt them too. And so I have my main rules on a little sheet here that I keep with me in my folder. And the reason why I have that is just in case I forget, in case I have a bit of a brain moment where my brain isn't remembering what I want it to remember. And so generally my rules are for using props: don't put the prop in or on your mouth, don't distract others with the prop, and treat the prop with care. So depending on what the prop is, I might be a bit more specific, and also I might go into a little bit more detail around it. So for example, if I'm using balls in a lesson, which I do sometimes use balls in my wellbeing lessons, I will talk around it and I'll be like, here are some balls. We're going to be using them in the lesson. It's going to be really, really tempting for you to throw the balls because that's what you would normally do when you have a ball. However, we're not going to use it in that way. Here are some ways that we can do, so I would share with them like ways that you can use the prop, but ways that they will not be expected to use prop. And then another thing that I will do when I've been really, really clear about my expectations of what's not okay is I will also let them know what they can expect if they forget. So I will say, if I see you doing any of these things, I'll remind you of our rules around the props. But if you continue to have a problem with managing the prop in that way, then I will need to take it from you, and I don't want to do that. And so that helps children to know, first of all, okay, we've got a new prop. This is how we use it. This is how we don't use it. This is what will happen if we use it in the way that is unexpected. And it might sound to you like, oh, really obvious, but it's not actually that obvious. And it may seem to you really clear that children shouldn't put a soft toy in their mouth, or that children shouldn't have a bean bag and like lob it across the hall or across the room or something like that. And it may to you feel like ridiculous. Of course you wouldn't do that. But actually it's not always that straightforward and that obvious to the children in your care. It could be that they just had a PE lesson yesterday and they used bean bags, for example, and in that lesson they were throwing the bean bags. So it's almost like just a gut reaction. I've got a bean bag, I'm going to throw it. It could be that it's a soft toy and that child is a child that really likes to chew things and has quite a lot of soft toys at home. And so just as a habit, they put it in their mouth. They've just forgotten themselves for a moment. But just the simple fact of you reminding them, of you telling them, oh, these are the rules to do with it, means that they know what to expect. And also, you know that you have already said that. So you can come from a place of patience and calm and, oh, do you remember I said about using the prop? This is what we're going to do. And so it means that you can start in a positive way, rather than sometimes we can assume something of children. We can assume that they know how to behave with a particular thing. And then when they don't behave how we're expecting them, we can have a hard time in talking to them about it. Whereas if we've already brought it to their attention and we've already raised it as an issue, then they know, oh, okay, this is what I need to do here. So it could be that you're considering using props in your classes, or perhaps you already do use props in your classes and you feel like you'd need a little bit more support there. I do have a self-paced training called Props Like a Pro. And I also have a freebie called Top of the Props, which lists my favourite top 10 props and how I use them. It gives some ideas. There's also some videos in and around this one that talk more about using props in your classes. And so you might want to check out those other offerings that are there for you. So either the free videos all about I think it's called Top of the Props. One of the videos is called Top of the Props, and and also the training. Props Like a Pro, that's what it's called, which is an e-course where it gives you lots of ideas of how you can use props in your wellbeing lessons or your yoga and mindfulness lessons to support children and to extend what they're learning, and to help engage them and help them have fun within their lessons.